Well, here I am. Ooh, telling people, oh, look at this, my hair is so bad. I needed a haircut before all of this. Hey guys, hey Brian, Sarah, what's up guys? Clearly, based on the people reaching out over the past couple weeks, people's backs are hurting. And I know that I labeled all these things, low back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, things for this week, but we're actually gonna be talking about back health. We're trying to maintain or get your back to health with this stuff today. We're not going over any specific diagnoses. We are just trying to make your back feel its best and work its best. And that can be done through some pretty simple stuff. All this stuff isn't new, you've probably seen it. It's taken from a bunch of people who are really, really smart, know what they're talking about. And I'm just gonna put it in a certain order and maybe it'll help and maybe you'll wanna take some of this stuff, do it on your own. You're gonna be able to find this on my story or my IGTV, or you can even find it over at Forged Golf Performance, another company of mine and my partner Chris. So once again, my name is Dr. Mike Scott of Connect Potential Physical Therapy. We've got rush hour right over to the side here, so you'll hear the cars screaming by. We're in our new space, hasn't opened yet. We were kind of delayed by everything that's going on here, but I'm glad that you've joined me in trying to make your backs feel better. You're gonna notice that there's a lot of hip stuff in this too, so maybe if your hips are bothering you, maybe you'll get some benefit from this. Or maybe you feel great and you just wanna maintain it. So we're gonna be going over a bunch of stretches, like I said, and then some exercises, and I'll try to maybe get to some questions at the end, and if I don't, I will post all the answers on my Instagram feed. Hi Mom, hey Steven, hi Kat. And we're gonna get started here in a second. Everything's really simple, and if anything bothers you, if anything is for some reason making it hurt somewhere, just take a breather. We're not gonna be doing anything for more than a minute or so at a time, so you're gonna be able to jump right back in and get back to it. Like I said, you can always reach out to me in my direct messages, my DMs, to maybe talk a little bit more. Maybe we need to schedule something via telehealth nowadays. I spend a lot more time at my computer, which isn't helping my back. Especially because I'm trying to throw a bunch of deadlifting and squatting on top of that. So, JR, how's it going? Hey, Natalia. So here we go. Hopefully you have your mat and a pillow. I got my mat here and that blue thing right in the corner there. That's gonna be my pillow, but a couch cushion or rolled up towel, will even do the trick. So I'm gonna get started here. This is a follow along. Do your best. I'm gonna try to give you some options, things that if something's not agreeing with you, maybe you can try out instead. So here we go. We're working on our back health. The first thing you're gonna do is you are gonna start on your back. You can have a pillow for your head. I'm not gonna choose to do that. So I'm gonna be right here on this mat. And so with all this sitting we've been doing, I feel like it's appropriate to start with some stuff for our hip flexors. And a lot of times when we keep them short from sitting, there's all that traffic, short from sitting, they kind of don't know when to turn on and when to turn off. So we're gonna give them that feedback right away. So you're gonna be laying on your back with one hip at 90 and the same knee at 90 degrees. And you're actually just gonna push that knee into your hand for about 3 seconds and then relax. And then you're gonna do it again. And we're gonna be doing 5 of these total. And I'll probably lose track here along the way. I'm terrible at counting. You just ask my patients, they'll tell you that they did 100 of every exercise and I counted to 6. And I'm pretty sure that's 4. And I'm feeling the front of my hip light up, and that's exactly what I want. And I think that was 5. Now while I'm doing this down hip, I'm squeezing my glute, so I can even work on my glute activation or extension as I'm pushing. And it's just 3-second holds. Yeah, I don't know, I already lost count. I think I'm at 3, 4. We'll say it's 4. And we'll get one more going. All right, so we've told our hip flexors, hey, we know you know how to go on, but let's turn on and let's turn off. And so now that maybe they're a little bit more relaxed from using them, we're gonna stretch them out. So you're gonna want that pillow if you got some sensitive knees, maybe you got a really nice mat and that doesn't matter. And you're gonna have your back foot so your toes are down. This is gonna help you balance a little bit more. If your toes or ankles hurt, you can always point them, but you might want something to hold on to. But for me, I'm gonna tuck my toes underneath. I'm gonna have 90 degrees of all my hips in my knees. I'm gonna posterior pelvic tilt my pelvis. And I'm gonna bring my chest up. I'm gonna push my hip a little bit. And from here, I'm just gonna hold 5 to 8 seconds. And I wanna make sure I'm not leaning back. That's a no-no, okay? We don't wanna compress our lumbar spine while we're doing this. So we tuck, we're up, and you're gonna feel a stretch in the front of your hip. And we're gonna be doing just a minute of this. Maybe you don't feel a stretch here because you spend a lot of time doing quad and hip flexor stretches. And so you always have the option to come forward, grab your ankle or your toes. But you want to keep your body upright. And you're going to feel a stretch in your quad. Now that we've done a minute or so, I don't know, like I said, I'm terrible at counting. We're going to go to the other side. Tuck your pelvis. Push your hip forward. 5, 8, 10 second count. And then back off. And you're just tucking, opening up those hips. Like I said, everybody's sitting nowadays. It's not that sitting is the new smoking. It's really being sedentary is the new smoking. And relaxing. Doing here. But sitting isn't going to help you be really athletic. It's not going to help your back pain. It's not going to help your hips. So getting up every half hour or so, and really just maybe doing a couple of these things that you see here. Pick something you know makes you feel good. Something that, maybe opens up the front of your hip, opens up your chest so you can breathe a little bit better. As we get rounded forward, we tend to breathe with our shoulders. Shoulders up our diaphragm. It seems like that was a minute. So, we're gonna put our pillow aside. We'll come back to that after. And we're gonna do a pigeon stretch, or a figure 4, or a piriformis, some variation of this. I like the pigeon. A lot of people will know this from yoga. You're going to take one leg, you're going to put it out in front, and drop your knee down to the ground, like straighten out your back leg. And this is going to stretch out the back of your hip. And a lot of people want to go down here with it. But as you see, we're rounding our backs. And we do enough of that throughout our day. I swear, every time I ask people how much they sit, they'll say, I sit about 7 to 8 hours a day. And then we start talking about, well, how long do you spend in a car? How long, are you on the couch? How much do you eat? How long are you doing these things for? And it usually ends up about 12 to 14 hours a day, maybe a little bit more, 15 hours a day, that people often sit. And so here we are, and those other options would be to cross that leg over your ankle and thread the needle and pull up towards your head. Or even if that's bothering your knee, you can pull up and across your body. And they're all stretching out these hip rotator muscles. You guys need a lot of love because we're just sitting on them all day and they're not really doing much. There we go. What do you think? It's about a minute or so. Sure. All right, so we're going to do the other side. I'm going to do the pigeon, but feel free to choose whatever you want. So I'm up, I've got my chest up, I'm stretching out that central tendon of my diaphragm, or the muscle that helps us breathe. Because like I said, when we sit for a long time, even that will shorten up, and we'll start to use all these muscles in our neck, maybe even in our low back to help us try to breathe just throughout our day. So it's not that just our back is the issue. Sometimes our backs hurt because we have so many things going on elsewhere in the body, the hips, the knees, the ankles, or even in our neck. Sometimes it can contribute to what's going on in our back. The hips are the big one. That's why we're spending a lot of time here. But also the thoracic spine, the area between our shoulder blades, can have a big, big role in how our low backs are feeling. All right, so we've worked on opening up the fronts of our hips. We've opened up the backs of our hips, and now we're going to use them through some range of motion. Something called a 90-90 sit. And so you're going to want 90 degrees or so at your knees, and then you're going to want to sit with your legs about shoulder width apart, somewhere around there. And from here, you're just going to rock to the side. You're going to bring one knee down on the inside of your knee, and the opposite knee is going to go down on the outside. We're taking our hips through internal and external rotation. Things we don't do a lot of during our day, even with running. We're just in this frontal plane. We're just not going side to side. We're not rotating much. If you're a golfer out there, you need a lot of good hip internal and external rotation to produce a good backswing and a good follow through. And I'll probably start scooting out of the frame here. But what you might find is that that pinches a lot in your hips, or you can't sit up. So you can actually just sit back and do this. Nice little modification. Still feels really good. Still just give some input into your hips, like, hey, you guys should remember this range of motion. I know with all the sitting and exercises we do right out in front of our bodies, we don't often give our bodies what we want here. Or maybe that's too easy. You can go no hands, and you can go down and rotate. And that's 90-90 sitting. So we've stretched the fronts, the backs, we've used that range of motion, and so now we're gonna head over to the hamstrings and the calves. Both things that attach to the pelvis and can control how we rotate. So if we have tight hamstrings, maybe we're gonna end up in a posterior pelvic tilt, which puts a lot of stress on our low back. So you're gonna be on your mat again. You're going back into that 90-90 position. You're gonna grab back here. The first piece of this is pulling your toes back, and then you're pushing your heel up towards the ceiling, and oh my, I feel like my calf and my hamstring are gonna rip off my body. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of deadlifts and squats. And if you're starting to feel any tingling in your foot, you need to back off a little bit. You're stretching out your sciatic nerve a little much. This should not be more than a 7 out of 10 on the pain scale. I was getting into the 11, 12, 13 out of 10 that my patients often tell me they're getting. All right, and we're at like 8 or 9. We're doing 10 total. All right, drag that heel up and then switching sides. All right. Hope y'all can hear me okay. And we got about 6 more to go. It's a nice gentle pace. Feels pretty good. I can see that there's a difference between my legs. My left is a little bit tighter than my right today for some reason. Usually it's the other way around. I did a lot of kettlebell swings yesterday, so maybe that's it. Anytime you need a breather, go grab some water, check your texts, whatever you need to do. Yeah, I think we got one more. All right, so done a lot of stretching. We've stretched the major muscle groups out of our lower body. Maybe we've left our adductors out, but that's for another day. We'll probably get to that on Friday when we go over some healthy hip stuff. But we're going to use all of this. So we've stretched it out, we've got a little bit more mobile, and now we want to say, hey, nervous system, here's some really good input for you to remember all that. So we're kind of hitting save on the document. We're going to do that by probably one of the harder exercises that we're going to do today. That's a split squat. It's going to look kind of like your hip flexor stretch. So you've got your pillow down. You've got a nice long stance over the top of that pillow, okay? Because what you're going to do is when you drop down, I want you to be in that hip flexor stretch position. So you've got the glutes squeezing, torso's upright, you're going down and up. And you're going to make 10 of these. I'm going to keep my head straight ahead for these. I'll actually count too. If you need to hold on to something, that's cool. It's not a balance exercise, but it can be. I'm going all the way up, and I'm feeling this stretch the whole time. So my body's having to say, okay, where's that range of motion we got from the stretch? Let's use it. And now we're going to switch. See how my balance is. I broke my right ankle years ago. Should be able to do this guy. Once again, just squeezing that back butt. We're not getting lazy with it. We're not down here. Nice and tall, squeezing. If you can't go this far down, just go where you can, but it's important to get the extension in your hip. You'll see that my knee isn't coming forward in my hip while I do this. I'm maintaining extension. All right, I think that was 10. And we're roughly halfway, maybe a little less. And we've got our mats. I'm going to take a break because I'm winded. And we're going to be doing some cats and camels. And these guys are great for feeding flexion and extension into our overall spines. We've got our thoracic spine, our cervical spine, our lumbar spine. All those things are going to come into play with our cats and camels. And a lot of times, people just focus on the low back. But I really want you to figure out or feel, what is your whole spine doing? It should be this big rainbow of movement, not just moving in your low back, not just moving in your head. And so we're going to go for 8 cats and camels. And I want you to kind of look at how big of an arch I'm making. Maybe on the first one, maybe I'll do 10. And then you can follow along. Or I'll do 2, and then you can follow along with the rest. But I've got my wrists underneath my shoulders. Now, if you need to, maybe your wrists are, you can modify down here, or maybe you can stack some pillows up or use a chair. You can do it up here as well. It's just going to change the movement of your spine just a little bit, but it's still, it's fine, okay? So we've got our wrists underneath our shoulders, we've got our knees underneath our hips. Toes are pointed, this one doesn't matter. I'm not going to push my spine all the way up towards the ceiling and drop my head. I'm getting as big of an arch as I possibly can. That's like the scared cat. That's where it gets the name, cats. And then camel, I'm going to go from this big position, this tuck position. I'm going to drop my shoulder blades down, pick my head up, and my shoulder blades are coming together. And that's going to help mobilize my thoracic spine. And that's the part that gets really hard for people, is having the shoulder blades move together when we go into the camel and apart when we go into the cat. And so up nice and tall, and I'm down. Up, and I'm down. If you're getting any numbness or tingling into your legs, this is where you're going to want to stop. You're just going to want to take that breather. Big arch and a big dip. So you're also going to be working on your shoulders with that one. If you're pushing hard enough, you're going to get your straightest anterior and your pec muscles going, which is always good. Get a little bit extra benefit. So we're going to focus a little bit more on the thoracic spine for this next drill. It's called an open book. I have to say, when I tell people that they're going to be doing this one during their sessions, they say, oh, finally, something that actually feels good, something that I can do at home. So the setup's pretty easy. You get to lay down in bed if you want. You can lay on the floor. You can kind of do this anywhere you're laying down. So you're going to start on your side, and it's not going to matter because we'll do them both. But you're going to start on your side. You're going to have your knees tucked up towards your chest, okay? I don't want them open down here. We're doing this to take your low back kind of out of it. We don't want your low back to be producing rotation. It's not built to rotate. Our lumbar spine only rotates somewhere between 13 and 15 degrees total. And the rest of it is supposed to come from our thoracic spine. So from here, grab my pillow. So from here, you're going to hold your knees down on the floor, down on the bed, whatever you're on. You're going to take your top arm, and you're going to come back. You're going to rotate your shoulders, your head, and your arm back here. With a book opening, I just got some cracks. Free of charge. And you're coming back 10 times. I can actually count these ones. Hope y'all are feeling pretty good at this point. I'm breaking a sweat. It's like 95 degrees in here. I don't have the air conditioning on. It's too loud. One more. All right, so did my top arm. I'm gonna switch it up for everybody. Holding my knees down. Maybe your shoulder bothers you, and this doesn't feel very good. So what you can do is you can actually put your hand on your chest and just pull your shoulder back. You'll get a lot of the benefit for your thoracic spine, but you won't get the stretch in your pec muscle, and that's okay, because right now we're just focusing on your thoracic spine, your mid-back. Or I'm gonna do these guys because they feel great. Who knows, 7, 8, whatever. I'll do 2 more. Oh, all right, so I'm gonna grab some water. Let's see what people are saying here. Oh man. Hey guys, oh great, I'm glad you guys are doing it. Dropping science, that's right, Brad. Hey Kevin Belize, what's up, man? Oh dude, all right, I need some water. All right, we got 6 things left. Let's get this alert out of here. There we go. All right. So we're still gonna stay in the same rotation arena, but like I said before, we don't want our low backs to rotate. When it does, that's when bad things happen. That's when we start to hurt. So our low back is a place where our body will compensate for a lack of rotation in our hips and in our thoracic spine. So for my golfers out there, if you start to have low back pain when you're hurting, the first thing I'm gonna do is look at your hips, and then I'm gonna see how well you rotate from your mid and upper back. So this is you're gonna be in a T position, okay? Arms are gonna be out to the side, and your legs are gonna be up in that 90-90 position, okay? It's tabletop for those who go to Pilates. What we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be rocking our legs side to side while trying to keep our shoulders down on the ground. Now you can only go as far as you can with keeping your opposite shoulder down. It's called a self-limiting exercise. So you're limited by how far you can go. Your body tells you when it's over, okay? So you can't really cheat this one. So you're on your back. You're in that 90-90 position. Your arms are out. So I'm gonna drop my legs to the left. My right shoulder is gonna wanna come off the ground, and I'm not gonna let it, okay? So my knees are up past my hips, so my low back isn't doing the rotation. It's all coming from between my shoulders. Now go, 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 go. And then as soon as my shoulders start to come up, I know I've reached the end. And so then I go the other way. Maybe there's a big difference side to side, kind of like this. Like I can get all the way down, no problem. And then I go to the other side. And I'm keeping my knees up. Now, if I can't do this, maybe my hips hurt, maybe my knees hurt with this, you can drop down and do this. It's kind of like that 90-90 stuff. But if you can, get those legs out, makes your abs work a little bit. Abs are good. Why not work on our abs? Right? I've been sitting at home eating a bunch of tortilla chips and making sourdough bread. My wife, Katie, thinks I'm crazy. I bake like 3 loaves a week, and I eat 4 somehow. That extra one always shows up when she's sleeping. Oh, great. And I'm going to do 1 more to each side, keeping that left shoulder down, keeping that right shoulder down. And a lot of my friends have started baking bread too. It seems like the thing to do. Whew. All right, so moving on to 3 exercises that this guy, Dr. Stuart McGill, he thinks they're the best. He says these ones are the ones that are like brushing your teeth for your back every day. Even if your back is not feeling good, even if your back is feeling great, you're gonna do these 3 exercises. They are bird dogs, curl ups, and side planks. Okay, I'm gonna throw dead bugs in there too, because I think dead bugs are a great exercise to help your obliques, your abdominals, your spinal stabilizers get working. But the first one is gonna be the bird dog. So this stuff is like a little bit higher level than the stuff we began with. It's using the ranges of motion that we gained at the beginning, okay? And so the bird dog seems pretty benign at first, but once you start challenging yourself with stance width and things, it can become pretty hard for trunk stability and hip stability exercise. And there's a couple ways that you can cheat on this one too. I'll try to point those out. But here we are, that 90-90 position again. I'll try to turn here so you can see me a little better. And so I'm gonna reach one arm out, and I'm gonna reach the opposite leg back. And when I do that, I wanna make sure I'm not arching. So once again, we don't wanna compress the low back. We just wanna be as long as possible, okay? We don't wanna be arched up. So I got my toes buried at the back, reaching out, straight leg, opposite arm goes forward. Now I don't want you to slump into your shoulder. That's a great way to piss everything off in here. And then you're gonna switch. Now bracing my trunk. I'm getting ready to get sucker punched by my brother, which he never did growing up though. He was a good older brother. And I'm getting ready to get hit in the stomach. I'm not just kind of loafing about. I'm not really soft in my trunk. I'm really, really stiff, creating some tension in my stomach. As I do these, I'm going to do 8 total. I'm somewhere about 5 or 6. And it's just a brief pause. And I'm squeezing that back butt cheek, always trying to sneak some glute work in where I can. And if that hurts, you can just do the legs if it bothers your shoulders, or you can just do the upper body if balance is an issue there. But those are bird dogs. You're doing 8 of those, 10 of them, 12 of them, somewhere around there. So your heart rate gets up, you break a little bit of a sweat, and then we're going to go into curl ups. And now this is a tough one to coach, but I do think it's important for our obliques and spinal stabilizers. You're going to be on your back, with one knee bent. The other leg is extended. My hands, if you can get them, are going to go underneath your low back. Now when they're there, I don't want you to flatten your back into your hands. It's just so you can feel what your low back is doing. I don't want it to press, and I don't want it to arch. So you're not flattening, you're not arching. I just don't want it to move at all. This is going to look like an abdominal crunch, except by having your hand down there, you're going to be able to feel, okay, am I stressing my discs or my low back a little bit too much, or am I just using my abdominals and my obliques just enough to lift my shoulders, my head, and my neck off the floor and straight up towards the ceiling? So I'm going to take my hands underneath my low back. My head will probably disappear here. That's all right. So my hands are under there, but I'm not crushing down. And I'm not arching up. I don't want my ribs coming up. That's a really bad position because that's going to cause us getting more compression in our facets and our lumbar spine, our low back. And the flexion might cause a little bit of irritation to like a disc issue if we've had it or if we haven't. So if you want to just sit this one out because you have a history of it, feel free. You're not going to be worse for the wear here. So I'm stiffing my trunk again. I'm not crushing my hands, and I'm just lifting. And I'm down. And you'll probably see me shake because I don't really do abs. I plank, and I deadlift, and I squat. And we're doing 6 of these, and then you're switching sides. Whew. Getting warm. I'll say that was 6. Something tells me it was 5 though. All right, and if you have shoulder issues, if that position bothers your shoulders, maybe you can roll up a towel in the future for this one. You can just have your hands right on your chest or down by your side. I just like doing it because it's a cue. My shoulders can handle it, but like I said, if yours can't, just have something under there that you can feel if you're pressing or if you're arching off of it. Usually a rolled up face towel or bath towel works just fine. You're going up and down 6 times. And I'm not flattening my back. It's not a contest to see how high up you can get either. We don't want that, okay? We're just lifting our shoulder blades off the floor. And one more. All right, so in the same vein of stabilizing the spine, okay, we're giving it that input of, hey, you sit pretty passively all day, you're not doing much, here's some stability, here's some stiffness through like all the guy wires that come off our spine and help stabilize it. We're gonna do some side planks. I'm a huge fan of side planks, but specifically done on your knees. Yeah, a longer lever is gonna make it more of a challenge, but I feel like doing them on your knees allows you to access your glutes, your butt cheeks a little bit better, so we can focus on getting really stiff through our glutes and our glute medius, but also we're going to work on our quadratus lumborum, which are these muscles on our low back, kind of sit right above our belt line between our belt and our ribs. And those guys help flex, extend, stabilize, prevent side-to-side movements, all these things. So side planks are great. They're usually pretty benign if someone's got a lot of issues in their spine. Most people can figure these out. Either modifying them with a shorter lever on your knees, or even doing them on the wall or a bed or something that just puts you at an angle instead of on the ground is a great option for you as well. So I'll go with my left side first. I've got my elbow stacked underneath my shoulder. I've got my knees bent and my hips are bent a little bit, and you'll see what happens here in a second. So I'm going to go up, but then I'm going to push my hips forward towards you guys, towards the screen. Now I'm stacked through my shoulder. I'm squeezing my butt cheeks and I'm bracing my abs. Okay, it's a very familiar saying when you hang out here at the clinic or the gym. Brace your abs, squeeze your butt. Brace your abs, squeeze your butt. The top of a deadlift, the top of a squat, an overhead press, a plank, all that stuff. Squeeze your abs, squeeze your butt. And so we're holding 10, 15 seconds. And then you're popping down. Who's texting me? And we're just gonna do one more. Then we're flipping over to the other side. Whew. I'm breaking a sweat. Sorry for all you guys on the East Coast. Gonna have to shower off before you go to bed, although it's probably not, what is it, 135 degrees in here. So we've got hips and knees bent, shoulder is underneath your, your elbows underneath your shoulder. So you don't want it to be like this, and you don't want it to be back here, okay? You want to be stacked up nice. You're going up. We'll count to 10. No, it's not watching. There we go. Chest is nice and broad. You can go up here with your arm if you want. If your neck's bothering you, you can move your head side to side and go down for 1 or 2 count. Go back up, squeezing the butt, bracing the abs, like a broken record. And that's all right. It works. And now we're back down. Whew. And we got our last one coming up. Before we get to probably my least favorite exercise on this list, the dead bug. But they are good for you, so we gotta do them. It's like your vegetables. You might not like them, but you know they're good for you, so you eat them anyway. All right, so the dead bug. Dead bug is almost infinitely modifiable. At the very least, you can just go for more time. But a great starting point for most people is 20 to 30 seconds, so I'm gonna go for the 30. You can add weights to your hands, you can add rubber bands, but we're just gonna go with the simplest form, just regular dead bug. You don't need anything except the floor. If your hips are bothering you or your arms are bothering you, kind of like the bird dog, you can just modify it. Move just your arms or just your legs. And there's tons and tons and tons of videos on a dead bug on how to modify it, make it harder, make it easier. So you're gonna start off just on your low back. Legs up in that 90-90 position. Get our hands up towards the ceiling. Head is resting on the ground. And just like the bird dog, as one leg goes out, the opposite arm goes back. And so where we were working on our hip muscles and our rotator cuff muscles by doing bird dogs, and our trunk muscles on the back, here we're working our anterior chain. We're getting those hip flexors again that we talked about at the very beginning, stretching out our pecs, using our lats to pull our arm back up. Very good. And we got about 10 seconds left. And it's not a race. You don't need to go for the most that you can do in 30 seconds. Just go at a nice, comfortable pace. All right. And that was about 30 seconds. So you're going to have to grab your pillow for the end. And now, I had a professor when I was in college who would always put a question on every test, like 4 times. And finally we started asking him why, and he said, because it's so important, if you don't know the answer to that, I need it to be weighted more. And so some people would be guessing different answers on every time the question came up. But I'm going to have you do a hip flexor stretch again, and that's because I want you to know how important that is. Our hip flexors are absolutely contributing to our low back pain. I don't know, 90% of the time in my practice. Doing a lot of manual therapy, doing a lot of stretching, teaching people how to do those 2 things on their own. But for you, a hip flexor stretch should be good. Just use them again so they have that when to turn on, when to turn off signal, okay? So they're kind of relaxed. We've got our toes tucked in the back. You got your posterior pelvic tilt. And then just hanging out here. Now I'm just gonna hang out here for 1 minute with you. We're gonna do the other side. So I hope you found some of this stuff beneficial. I know that usually just warming up and going through these movements can really help people. I see it every day, at least when I'm open, but even with my telehealth stuff that I'm doing, taking people through a series of exercises like this can provide an enormous amount of benefit to help people start feeling a little bit less pain, realizing that movement is the medicine, not the manual therapy. there's any good thing that's coming out of this in the physical therapy world, it's that maybe people start to see that manual therapy isn't what we thought it was. Massage and joint mobilizations have a time and a place, but for the most part, getting you to feel and move better is done through moving better. Showing you and empowering you that you can feel good with movement, toes tucked, pelvic tucked, upright. And so all it takes is simple stuff. It wasn't hard or complicated, I should say, but it could be hard depending on your levels. And hopefully you found some things that were adjustable that you could, like I said, pick and choose throughout your day. Break up your sitting, break up your standing. Even standing is considered being sedentary nowadays. Yeah, your hip flexors aren't going to get so tight, but they're not going to get used a lot. Making sure you're moving, doing all these exercises that people are posting online is great, but just making sure you stay within your limits and give some love to your online trainers and support what they're doing. It's a tough time for all of us. Stress doesn't help with any of this stuff. I just want to kind of plop my butt on the couch and watch a little bit of TV at the end of the day, kind of forget what's going on. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm staying healthy and feeling good. So, all right, I don't even know how long that was. That was about 36 minutes, a little longer than advertised, but hope you're feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm actually a little tired. I'm a little red in the face. What do we got? Oh, we got Andrew Key. Yes, video games are paleo. That's right. Oh, man. Oh, hey, Shayla. Oh, man. Yes, I'm going to be saving this, and I am going to post it to my Instagram TV. Yeah, Bri, cats and many others' minds. I'm going to save it to my Instagram TV. I'm also going to probably post it to YouTube, to my Forge Golf Performance account. So you can follow along. Please reach out with any questions. I do telehealth visits too. If you want to schedule one of those, same thing, reach out in my direct messages. Maybe I can help with some nagging issues a little bit more specific. If you have a diagnosis, then we can work with that. If not, maybe we can figure something out together. I really love doing this. I love putting it together.